We're on a collective farm here just outside of Havana in Cuba.
I am here with a group of other commissioners, secretaries, and directors of agriculture from the U.S.
We're here to learn about their practices, about their production techniques, about their markets.
There's no doubt that Cuba is a potential market for us.
The obstacle is the relationship between the two countries.
The main issues that we face is it is difficult for us to export, and we cannot import from Cuba. We're not allowed to use American banks. The brokers have to be from a separate country.
Farmers potentially think about ways in which they can create market opportunities for whatever it is they're growing. The reality is there's a significant impediment to trade in Cuba because of, I think, legislation that requires essentially payment in advance in cash in U.S. dollars, which makes it very, very difficult for a lot of ag trade to take place.
Para nadie es un secreto que el impacto del bloqueo dificultan muchas cosas. Si tuviéramos algunos productos que ellos tienen y que nosotros pudiéramos adquirir, pudiéramos tener más producción.
Debido a los temas de bloqueo que tenemos, no tenemos adquisición de la nueva variedad de la semilla Black Season, que es una de las lechugas que más se consume en Cuba, que es de ellos, que es americana.
I don't think that we will walk out of here making business deals. I don't think that was anybody's expectation. The goal was to get a better understanding about the needs, areas where American farmers, farm equipment manufacturers, suppliers could potentially fulfill a need, and also an opportunity to understand what could Cuba producers be willing to export.
There's obviously a market there. It's just a question of whether you can remove that barrier and make it a little bit easier from a business perspective to do business in Cuba.
There are opportunities on a smaller basis when we see the private sector growing as it is.
In 2021, when they allowed the private sector, private industry to trade, that's really where some opportunities are being created for the future.
I know what I can do in the great state of Connecticut and the opportunities that we could have if the markets open up. We grow some of the finest tobacco in the world in Connecticut. Obviously, the Cuban cigar industry is known as a premium product. So there's a legitimate reason to be very interested in the Cuban market.
In Indiana, we grow a lot of corn and soybeans, so we would be a good feed provider for livestock.
And the fact that they're less than 100 miles away, that they have some significant ports, they have the opportunity to move products, really creates, a built-in system.
It's not just a money thing, it's a neighbor thing. We're close, we're neighbors, and there ought to be opportunities for us to trade.
Ultimately, what we want to do is facilitate a better relationship between our two countries, that we can have trade, whether it's music, culture, medicine, and agriculture,